you can pinpoint or highlight certain possibilities, but it's really hard to put your finger on it, I guess. With the current resource that you have, is that sort of enough? I mean, obviously, you touch on the fact that you need to keep drilling away, because resources don't just happen overnight, and you work in parallels like everybody does, right? You work in parallels. So the future is obviously the exploration drilling that you talk about, the future resource adding. Is that what you have now robust enough? Because obviously, what was open cut before, and your underground now, is it robust as it is, with a bit of touch here and there?
Well, look, certainly, we look at have we got enough drilling to do the underground, and certainly for the pre-feasibility, there's no doubt. There's areas we've got 15 by 20 metre spacing. It's when you go look at the drill pad, there's just these holes that close together. There's just all these pipes sticking out. It's almost like, because it starts getting so deep, it gets hard to do the infield drilling, and certainly the idea is that high grade core, we did the higher density drilling to reduce the risk. So whether we'll need any more is debatable. I would think not, but obviously with Glenn's fresh pair of eyes, he might have some other requirements to do. Might identify the odd hole we need to do to de-risk even further. But what'll be interesting is re-optimising at the prices that are today. This is not 23,000 like it was back in the study we did in 2012. It's more. We're talking about 43,000. So that's a spot price. We won't be using the spot price, but we'll have various prices we will use. So we'll probably use something around mid-30s at this stage, depending. Unless the tin price continues to go up, then
it was 48 not long ago.
That's exactly right. So if it starts getting 60 or 70,000, but we'll probably take sort of 20-25% off that price. But it's been at 40. We've been in the 40s for a while now, so we're getting used to the 40s. We got used to the 30s 12 months ago. So the 50s are a possibility for sure. And I think you look at that. So you've got the high grade zone. It's a scar. So you've got these halos of different minerals, different recoveries, but our stopes is kind of got this grade boundary, but as we lower the cut-off with different techniques, you do actually get quite a large number of tonnes. So even though we had 13 million tonnes in the open pit reserves and 1 million tonnes underground, we've identified, we told the market we're focusing on this 4.7 million tonnes of higher grade material running around about 0.3, 0.4, I think it's 0.4, 10.3 tungsten, and a 15% mass rock and magnetite. So that's what we'll focus on. But when we optimise it, it might be a different number. It might be somewhere in between the 4 and the 13, 14. We might get 7 or 8, and then all of a sudden we might be talking about 1 million tonnes per annum for 7 or 8 years. We might be talking about 750,000 tonnes for 10 years. So those combinations we don't know about. We were thinking. When we were looking at the scoping study, which we didn't complete, but we were looking at sort of 500,000 tonnes per annum for 7 or 8 years, looking at that 3.5 to 4 million tonnes. But we were looking at half the price. So it'll be interesting to see what those numbers come back with, and what sort of methods we can use. Obviously, very keen to explore, with the electrification of underground equipment using batteries, explore that avenue as much as possible. And see what we come up with. So look, Glenn's very much into innovation. So an innovation that generates cutting costs. Obviously, the much simpler processing technique will provide cost-cutting opportunities. Gravity is a lot cheaper than flotation. So we get that cost down, and all of a sudden it has a much bigger impact on the reserve. So we expect over the next 6 months to get those numbers and model those scenarios, and it's the ore body. When you do a study for the first time, you get a couple of scenarios done, but as you do more work, this will be about modelling different scenarios. It'll give us, hopefully it'll reduce the number of options we're thinking at the moment right down for the DFS. And that's what a PFS is all about.
Because when you, as you speak there, you reminded me when you look, guys were doing feasibility back in 2012. I think the maximum tin price was, if I'm not mistaken, no more than 23, 24 was the high. So your feasibility would have been a lot lower. So if you did it at 15,000, I don't know what the figure was, I can't remember. But you're talking about 35 mid pricing now, which is not at spot, right? So it's kind of if you as a potential shareholder, you look back, the margin is a lot bigger now than before. We're more efficient than before. So the cost may have been high, but the efficiency is greater as well. So I guess that all will get penned out in your studies when it comes out. A thought came to me also. All your other commodities, or all the other potential metals or minerals, could you recover that along with your tin, your tungsten? You spoke about magnetite. Could they then become a credit to the process, or is that just a bit too small, insignificant? You don't worry about it, just focus on the tin.
Well, look, for us, there's plenty of tin and tungsten, so they contribute almost equally to the revenue. So they're co-products. The magnetite's around about 15 to 20% of the story. So we've done all the work. We know we've got a Savage River type of circuit. So Savage River is Australia's only magnetite mine. So we'd signed back in 2011 an MOU. So all the work we did previously, we would produce a product that would go straight into their pellet plant at Port Ladder on the north coast. So we know we can do that. So that's done, that part of the circuit. And the tungsten, we've done all the recovery work, and we know that gravity works because you see some of the pictures of the big clumps of scheelite that's in the core. So it's very coarse. So that's a good result. The recoveries on that are, I think from memory, around about the 70-odd%, 70 to 70. Actually, so more like 80%. So for the tungsten, the tin's around the 70-odd%. So we can recover that. What we did have before in a much larger volume, big tons, in the 1.75 million tonne per annum throughput for the open pit scenario we did the BFS on previously. We had about 0.1% copper, and we managed to get, and it was worth having a copper circuit on it. Debatable whether we have a copper circuit on the smaller plant. So that's something we have our eye on, but that really depends upon the throughput rates and whether it's economic enough to extract. But we were able to previously do enough work to see if we could do a bulk sulphide float and generate a copper con, albeit lower recoveries. But if someone's going to give you, I think we were getting about almost 1,000 tonnes of copper metal in concentrate per annum, as a byproduct, and you'd take it, wouldn't you? So those opportunities do exist. It's a skarn, so whether any other minerals exist, it's something we continue to look at. Skarn deposits can generate other opportunities. So we continue to keep our eyes wide open to see if there's anything else in the flow sheet that we can get out of. But for example, the Nui Phao, which is one of the largest tungsten mines in the world, has fluorspar, bismuth, gold, copper, as well as tungsten. So it's sort of, that's five products, and that's been in operation for 8 years or so. So that's a good, more recent example of what it can do. But we're sticking with probably those main, tin, the tungsten, the magnetite. And the magnetite does a lot of heavy lifting in terms of the costs. It's important we recover all those components before everything else we'll assess as we